Board to order. There's a binder labeled public materials on the table as you enter the room. Meeting agendas are also available there. Public can also access agendas by visiting our website, rrps.org. Please rise for pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let the record indicate that Director Bonner is absent, otherwise the other six are here. Can I get an approval? No. We got some additions to the agenda to make. I've got a list to add. I'm just going to go down the line. Resolution relating to termination non-renewal of teachers. 6.1 will be Keon Martinson. 6.2 will be Sean Johnson. 6.3 will be Alexander Hayes. 6.4 will be Deb Meisner. 6.5 will be Sarah Steele. 6.6 will be Caitlin Schreiner. 6.7 is Amanda Delich. 6.8 is Susan Lanick. 6.9 is Drew Aho. 6.10 is Taryn Greiner. 6.11 is Tina Trulinger. 6.12 is Amanda Spots. 6.13 is Gina Flank. And 6.14 is Benjamin Norman. Do we need to repeat any of those, or we're good? Can I get a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved, Reardon.
Second.
Motion by Reardon, second by Westby. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Visitor input, I've had two sign up ahead of time. Tim Strasser's first.
Good evening, board. I'm Tim Strasser. I have two kids who are at Laurentian, and I'm a science teacher at Rockridge High School, and I'm here to talk about the 4-day possible school week. A couple of things that I have concerns with about that. U.S. News and World Report says that America is the 31st best educational country in the world, which seems relatively low. Minnesota used to be the 6th best educational system in the country. We have dropped down in a decade to 19th. According to the Annie Kelsey Foundation. So our numbers are not that fantastic in education to begin with. This is the first generation, the end of Gen Z and beginning of Gen Alpha, roughly in the 2000s, where kids have scored worse than their parents on standardized tests. In the past 100 years, the first time that has happened. So our kids are getting less, learning certain skills worse. So literacy, numeracy, attention span, we kind of all know that one, and regular IQ are all dropping in this generation. And there is, I can't remember his name, but there was a neuroscientist who was talking to the Senate who said that screens was one of the biggest reasons why. And it's great that you're thinking about getting rid of screens for the younger kids, but if we have a 4-day week, what are the vast majority of kids gonna be doing during that day off? They're not gonna be getting jobs or other things. There's gonna be a lot more screen time, probably, that will be going on. So that is a concern for mine as well. And then the last thing is that looking nationwide, I think it was the Rand Corporation, found that by going to 4 days instead of 5, the savings is between 0.4 and 2.1% of a budget, which doesn't seem like a whole lot for the possible detriments that would happen with going down to 4 days. So if we do decide, I just hope that we don't jump, like often is the case, that we actually learn from our neighbors and figure out a good system so that we can kind of avoid some of those pitfalls that we might have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, Lori Ishmael.
Good evening, Board. Again, my name is Lori Ismail, and I have been teaching our district students since 1995. I'm here to speak about my strong concerns after hearing about reducing the number of counselors in pre-K through 12 down to 0. Counseling services are essential for all students. Stereotypes can exist contrary to this, but all kids need additional support, including our so-called high flyers, as many of these students struggle with anxiety. Last meeting, we heard from a mental health care professional. She had some words for us, and I think that she had a lot of good things to say. And then I recently did a stint in counseling. I did just senior meetings, and there is a lot of work involved just with seniors. In 2 months, I was only able to get through half of the kids, and that I left a lot of things hanging in the time that I left. So there's just so much, that's just one grade. As my second point is that our district is so new and has had many triumphs. We also have we have a long way to go to create sustainable systems and programs. We have struggled with COVID, bringing 2 districts together, starting a new educational model with our career academy, and unfortunately these horrible budget cuts. I believe it's important to make critical changes by including all groups that are impacted, and a team approach is a much better way to inspire good systems rather than the decision of only a few people. The teachers, other support staff, and counselors have very valuable input in this critical decision, but most importantly, the group that matters the most is the students. How will they feel? Has a decent number of students, representative of all groups, been asked? The students are they are our customers. Number 3, I'd like to address my concern with the idea of relocating counseling to the main office. We have award-winning, world-class architecture in our school, created by, we consulted with the entire community. The design and location of the counseling center was deliberate and is a space where students feel comfortable and safe. The high school office, that was also deliberately designed and is set up for safety, as it's a locked-in area even from the inside. So I'm just questioning how welcoming would it be for a student in crisis to go past the lunchroom to wait at a locked door. And then I want to close with a little homework. I don't really love AI, but I'm going to say it anyway. Use AI Assist to look up combined high school counselor and dean. It is not right or fair for staff to do both. And isn't being licensed important? I help kids with a lot of things, but only our counselors are trained in certain areas. Our own counseling staff have endured unimaginable personal situations in the last 2 years that have prevented a full staff to be in counseling. And the solution is not to eliminate them entirely, but thinking too that this is such a high burnout job. So we're gonna put a high burnout job on a person who already has a high burnout job. The solution is to actively seek to replace these counselors. Sign me up. I'll volunteer to go and sit at the next education career job fair as a Rockridge booth. I urge you, if you do plan to make any decisions regarding this tonight, to please table this and think about it further. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
That was the end of my list of people that signed up ahead of time. Is there anybody else that would like to address the board? Anybody else? Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. We had one to add, 4.9, which I'll have in front of us, the 7th grade baseball coach. I'll add him at 4.9.
That's the one that's in front of us, right?
Yep.
What about that?
We're adding, there's a hire a 7th grade baseball coach. Effective today. With that add, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
A motion.
Motion by Westby,
Support.
support by Lotiger. Any discussion?
As amended?
As amended. Okay. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. 5.1, Laurentian Elementary Principal's Report, Angie Williams.
Good evening. I was here 6 weeks ago only, so not a lot has happened, but a few things that I think are worthy to mention. one of the first things that happened between the last time I was here on February 9th was we had a presentation by Keith Turner and Carl Crawford, and it was called The Promise Is You. And they came and gave a presentation to our sixth graders. And how it came about is when we had Keith and Carl at our in-service for teachers. And our staff thought, boy, some of our students in the upper elementary would probably benefit from this presentation. So Keith and Carl came and presented to our sixth graders, and it's, like the title says, The Promise Is You. It was helping our students understand how their actions can make a difference, and how to build community as well. So we had that presentation, and then at the last board meeting, I was talking about February, I Love to Read Month, and if you recall, I was talking about how it was the theme of the Winter Olympics. So it went really well, and that is all due, credit to Bridget Lacassiere. She does a fantastic job of doing our I Love to Read Month activities. But I want to take a moment to give a shout out to all of the local businesses that contributed to making it such a huge success. Without their donations, we wouldn't be able to give the prizes and the rewards that we give to our students. So the Reading Olympic events were sponsored by Barber Graphics, Cinema 6, Cook's Country Connections, Dairy Queen, Eveleth Elks, the Eveleth Masonic Lodge, the Fun of Reading, the Paper Pie Books, that's who did our book fair. They had a book fair for 1 week during February. Giants Ridge, Hardee's, Iron Range, Rotary Club, Laurentian PTA, the Minnesota Masonic Lodge, Pizza Hut, Target, United States Hockey Hall of Fame, and Walmart. So that's several communities, businesses that have supported Laurentian. So I want to give a huge thank out to those businesses. As a special reward, our top 3 readers in each class, 3rd through 6th grade, they were able to go to the United States Hockey Hall of Fame, and then they went to the ITMEC, and they had pizza and snacks and rode ice bumper cars. So a lot of kids don't get that opportunity to use that because it's quite expensive at the ITMEC to do that as a family. So that was nice to give them that opportunity. I also want to give a huge shout out to our amazing PTA. They did a first time event, and I hope it becomes a tradition. On Sunday, March 8th, between 2 and 6, they rented out the ITMEC, the back ice rink, and they had families come for 4 hours to skate with their kids, and they provided coffee and cocoa and cookies to everybody that showed up, and over 200 people showed up for that event in those 4 hours. So we're hoping it becomes a tradition, because a lot of times there's not a lot of things for our elementary students to do in the winter time. And so we had donated skates there too. We have a bank of ice skates that were brought there, so if you didn't have skates, you could find a pair. So that was great, and I hope we continue to do that. I did mention the last time too that we started our Glow Run this month, and it started last Thursday and it finishes this Thursday. And our goal is to get $10,000, and I think we're already there. Some staff, if we make that goal of $10,000, will have to kiss a llama. And then if we make $15,000, some staff members will also be pied in the face. And if we make $20,000, some staff will be slimed. That's what we did last year, is we had staff slimed. And if we make $25,000, we'll have some staff members become a human sundae. And if we get $30,000, Mrs. Miller, our student support person, will complete all 4 challenges. And I think I'm safe this year. I wasn't safe last year, but this year I figured there's no way we're gonna get $33,000 again, the 2nd year in a row. So I said, if we get $33,000, then I will do all 4. But I think I'm going to be safe. I hope I am. And then on April 1st, the reading champions for 3rd grade, Pittsburgh Penguins and US Steel, they're going to be coming over to Laurentian with the 3rd grade North Star students, and they're gonna do their celebration. They're flying in some people from Pittsburgh on the 1st, and they're gonna come and do a presentation for our students and hand out some rewards for those kids in the class that had the most reading points. MCAs are coming up, so for all the families that are listening, it's really important that we have our kids during our MCA weeks. Third grade through sixth grade, reading MCAs are April 14th through the 16th. And then third through sixth grade again for math will be April 28th through the 30th. And then the last one is just for fifth grade, May 6th and 7th. We have fifth grade taking our science, so we hope that all students are in school those days to take those important tests. Our spring music concert is coming up on May 5th, 6th, and 7th at 1:30. Each performance will be. This spring, it will be second grade on the 5th that will do the performance. On the 6th, it's third grade, and then on the 7th, it's fourth grade. The other grade levels had a winter sing, so these are the last three classes. PTA is planning another book fair the week of May 11th, and they asked if we could plan our kindergarten roundup and our Title I family night that same week to get more traffic through their book fair. So we said, sure, we can do that. So our kindergarten roundup will be on May 13th on a Wednesday from 4:30 to 6. And May 15th, the Friday, we'll have our Title I Family Fun Engagement Night. That will be the same time they have the PTA is having a Family Fun Night as well. So we'll work together on those two activities. And since we're talking about kindergarten registration numbers, so far we have 30 kids signed up for Laurentian, and at Parkview there's 47 signed up, and hopefully after our kindergarten roundup, we'll get a few more kids there and our numbers will go up. Preschools, the fours, they're gonna fill up. We should have 4 sections again next year. Currently, both sides of the district, we have about 26 kids signed up. So that's a total of 52. So I'm sure we'll be able to get 4 preschool rooms. And then our preschool, the 3s, which is located at Laurentian, we have a total of 17 signed up so far. And then the last 2 things I want to mention is May 11th is going to be a busy day for our upper elementary at Laurentian, because in the morning we have Lake Country Power coming with some linemen and their safety director that they're bringing a safety demonstration trailer to educate our students on electricity safety. They'll have 11 different scenarios that show the potential electrical hazards and accidents. So that will be the first time we've ever had them here. So I'm excited to see that and see what that presentation will bring and what our students will learn. And then in the afternoon, we have the spring Rockridge High School spring play, The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane. They're actually going to practice it in front of our student body in grades 3rd through 6th. Because a lot of our students don't get to go and see a play at the high school, so they're going to come to us and perform in our gymnasium the play for practice. And then the last thing is just our track and field dates. May 12th is 3rd and 4th grade track and field. May 14th is 2 through 2, and May 18th is the 6th grade track and field. All I have. This is my last time I'm coming this year, so this is the last time you can ask me any questions for the start of next year.
Any questions for Angie?
33,000?
33,000. We're not gonna get there though. I don't think.
Never say never.
Now that,
Never
like,
say
now that
You
never.
said that, you're in trouble.
Thank you.
Thank you.
5.2 MSBA Day at the Capitol. Tim, how was your day?
Oh, boy. You know, I was so confused on this. I called Lisa and told her that we're gonna be presenting here, and then she reminded me that she called me the morning of the MSBA Day at the Capitol, and she was really sick, she wouldn't be there, so.
So you had to do it yourself?
I had to do it myself. Well, you know, we had all these plans for her and I to go see. So in the morning, we have panels that sit and talk about what MSBA and MASA, how they're going to the Capitol and what their priority issues are. Then we have 2 senators and 2 reps come in and they take questions. they actually ask them about 5 or 6 questions that they have in advance, and they answer them. There's Republicans and Democrats on that panel. And then we go to the Capitol. And it's hard now, well, because they're rebuilding the House section. So trying to get from the Senate side to the House side, it takes you like 20 minutes and it's a walk uphill. So we were scheduled, Lisa and I were scheduled to see Senator Farnsworth at 1 o'clock. And then we were supposed to, I was gonna go see Representative Igo because he's carrying something special for MSBA. And then we were supposed to see Carl Warwas at 2 o'clock. Igo he was sick that day, so that took that off my plate. Farnsworth, we had a real good conversation with him. Sat there with the school board, 3 school board members from Grand Rapids, and then Matt Gross, the superintendent. So, and he's carrying the school trust lands, permanent school trust lands legislation in the Senate. So he's one of the authors. After that, I went and sat with Carl, and we had a good meeting. We probably sat, or Cal, I keep calling him Carl, I apologize. We sat and probably talked for a good hour and 20 minutes, and he just wanted to know everything that was going on up here, and he was very interested. He actually also signed on to the permanent school trust lands. Some of the legislation that we're really interested in is the repealing of $250 million for special education for the cross subsidy. That will hit us in our pocketbooks again, where they gave us money. Now they're talking about taking it away. Compensatory fund, what we're asking, that is to hold harmless. There's going to be a lot of schools that will actually lose money if they go with the way the compensatory funding is supposed to go. There'll be a lot of winners and there'll be a lot of losers. And what we're asking them to do this year and next year is hold harmless, keep our levels the way they've been in the last biennium. So, what was another? The biggest thing that I think that I wanted to talk to people is this permanent school trust fund. It's a constitutional amendment, and it's moving well through the House and the Senate. They already passed it on from education to finance, and so it's well on its way. Right now, the schools get about 2.3% of the school trust lands money, and that comes out to about $62 per student. Every school district in the state of Minnesota receives this revenue. And what they want to do is change the how that is calculated. And if that passes on a constitutional amendment, it'll go up to like 4.5%. So we'll get like $130 per student. And this is funds that have no strings attached.
The fund is growing.
Yeah, and the fund is growing. In 2014, when the new director, Aaron Vandelin, went in, they were like 670 million, and now the fund has $2.2 billion in it. So it's really healthy, and they studied it for a year. They had a large panel look at it, and they feel that they could sustain it, would still grow, not at the rate it has grown in the past, but by doubling what the schools get, which would really be a nice, it would be, once the state gives us something without taking something else away, so. Lisa and I talked, she said, can I put together a listing of all the unfunded mandates? And so I was talking with somebody from MSBA, and right now, he said he stopped at 160 different bills in different areas where we've been asked to fund something and there's been no money attached to it, so. There's actually a bill in there right now, but it has got no traction at all, that when there's an unfunded mandate, that the school districts don't have to meet that obligation. I don't think that's gonna go anywhere, but it was a good day-long meeting, and the other one that was real positive is at our MSBA delegate assembly. We really pushed online learning and PSEO. And so they're looking at the imbalance with PSEO. In our area alone, $6 million leaves our school districts and goes to the colleges. So they're looking at looking at the way they fund it. So it was a positive day.
Thanks, Tim, for that
Thank you.
comprehensive report. I appreciate it. 5.2.
Thank you, Director Yuhan, members of the school board. What I'm going to do for my superintendent report is a lead-in to the budget discussions you're going to have. And what I'm going to say is also for the audience and also for those who are listening, because a common question I hear is, how did we get here? How did the Rockridge School Board get to this point? And I'm going to tell you how this happened. The single biggest driver of all of this is the reality that the funding from the state of Minnesota has not kept up with inflation. For example, you have $3 million fewer dollars than what the Evelyn Gilbert School Board and the Virginia School Board had in the year 2000. After you adjust for inflation, this group right here, you have $3 million fewer dollars every single year just because of the effect of inflation. If you have those $3 million, your budget problems are gone. They're over. You don't have to make any decisions on reducing the budget. And so that's been a massive driver of where we are right here. And so I constantly am reminding folks that, no, this school board is fiscally responsible. No, this board is making good decisions. They have way fewer dollars than what prior school boards had. That's a reality of the situation. The other reason that has happened is that you do get some money for special ed, but the state of Minnesota has decided that they are going to pull some special ed money away from you. So they're not funding transportation the way they always have. So you have $145,000 less money this year that you have gotten in prior years, and you have to pay for that money somewhere because legally you are required to provide transportation for kids who are in special ed. If they have it written to their IEP, you have no choice. You must transport them. And some of these individuals, we need to transport them differently than in a large school bus. Because the state of Minnesota is not going to give you as much money, $145,000, where are you going to come up with $145,000? You don't have another place to take it from other than the general budget. And that's what funds the main driver of all of your revenues. Sports, activities, teachers, parents, custodians, all of these are coming from your general supply. The last thing you had was the Department of Natural Resources overpaid you $180,000. They gave it to you. We thought you had the money. They sent it to you. And then they said, whoops, our fault. We really gave you too much money. Now you have to pay it back. Well, you'd already budgeted for this money, but you have no option. You have to pay this money back. State law statute says you have to pay the money back. So you've had some things that don't break in your favor, but the big one is that you've just been slowly, every year, you just fall a little bit further behind. And that's why you have some of the decisions to make tonight. And these are, for those in the audience and watching, these are the worst decisions a school board has to make. Nobody joins the school board saying, hey, I want to cut programming for kids. Hey, I want to cut teachers and paras. Nobody on the board does that. They don't do that. They join because it's good in their heart. They want things to go better on the range. So what we've done with the budget you're about to talk about, we have tried to minimize as much as possible teacher loss. And because you are picking up your own special ed program, we're leaving the NLC, we have some shifting around that we could do that after everything is done, even though I know, and I want to be very clear with members of the audience, even though the school board has to go through some names tonight, because state law says the board has to do something by April 1st if there's a possibility a tenured teacher might not be called back. We are giving you options, school board, that the reality is, I believe if you are a teacher, a tenured teacher, if you want to work in Rock Ridge, we have a job for you. It might not be exactly where you wanted it to be. We might ask you whether you're interested in working in some special ed fields. This is assuming we don't find qualified, certified, licensed special ed individuals who are very difficult to find. So we may ask some people, hey, we've got a job for you. Do you want to do it? And because of the way the state laws work, they have to say yes. And I would not surprise me if you have one or two who might say, no, thank you. I want to go try something else or do something else. That could happen. But the bottom line here is even though you're going to go through a long list of names, I believe we're going to call back almost all of those names and we're going to have positions for them. Now, this does depend what you decide to do on the budget. If you adopt most of what you have in front of you coming up, you're going to be okay and we'll be able to bring those people back. Even aside from the 4-period day, we'll be able to bring those folks back. But I just want to say that for everyone. So even though you're going through some names, I have a high degree of confidence that in a month or two, we're going to be able to bring back all of those, almost all of those who want jobs. We will have jobs for them. Maybe not in the area they want to be, but we will have jobs for them to minimize as much as possible teacher loss for the area. I know you've got a tough job ahead of you. It's hard, it's difficult, it's the worst part of your job. I understand that. So members of the audience and those watching, these are the cards the school board has. They have to balance a budget. We are a business, and we're going to give you board members options a little bit later in a few minutes so you can decide what you would like to do. That's the end of my superintendent report.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, Dr. Schmidt? Okay, 5.4, the treasurer's report. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Ritter. Second by Westby. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item 6 is discussion and possible action on budget for 26-27. You want to go through the list? We have two options in front of us. Option 1, adopt all budget adjustment ideas, including a 4-day school week. Or option 2, and that is all, that's teacher reductions and other cuts, minus the 4-day week.
Yeah, the only difference is the 4-day week, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, 4-day week is option 1, 5-day week is option 2.
I'm gonna take that off the table tonight. I make a motion for option 2.
I'll second that.
Motion by Westby, second by Reardon. Any discussion
I mean, I'll just reiterate again, my thoughts on the 4-day week. Just when you have 1,200 people responding and the majority is saying that they would support a 4-day week, it's a cost savings to the district. There's an argument to be made, some may believe, some may not. There's an argument to be made that it can be helpful to mental health, increase family time. But with those things being said too, I also understand the arguments about, let's put it off for a year, see what happens with MCA scores for the schools that have gone to a 4-day week that are comparable to our own. I can understand that also, as well as just, we don't want to go backwards. We don't want kids to be negatively impacted educationally by going to a 4-day week. But, I just, personally, I'm leaning towards the 4-day week because of the 1,200 and people saying that they support that. And then the cost savings when we're looking at the budget pinch we are in. I just, I think I'm in support of the 4-day. As far as everything else goes, I mean, I understand the 12 to 15 coaches is kind of looks like a lot. But really, if we keep kicking that can down the road, I don't want to continue to be here every year. So I can get on board with that also.
I know a lot of them, just jump right real quick, a lot of other sports will split those things, those stipends to add to the staff. Well, we could just split it and create another position. I encourage those sports to look at doing that.
And booster clubs pay too.
But I don't think booster clubs are, from what I hear, they're not willing to pay positions, so.
But what they have paid for, I'm appreciative of.
Oh, for sure.
Because they have really been great.
I didn't mean to jump on you, sorry. Jump in.
No, and the 0.5 music teacher,
Is that what, was your motion
It's the whole shebang, right?
it was the whole shebang.
with
It wasn't
adding
specified, taken
adding the
out.
teacher?
Well, I guess I should change that because that would save us 74, over 74.
I guess I wasn't prepared, I thought we were gonna just take some of it and table some of it to get have more discussion, have more information.
Yeah, we could definitely do that, but, the motion was, take it, we talked about it in the working session. So,
And I do think it's important to remember that the longer we kick it down, the can down the road, all those people out there have to wait
Hold their breath.
pins and
That's my concern
needles.
too, yeah.
They have to wait pins and needles trying to figure out whether or not they're gonna have a job, where they're gonna have a job, those
Scheduling.
kinds of things, all of that. And like I've already said, and I will continue to say, I can't get on board with the school counselors being the deans. Because again, two different educational paths. Even bringing a therapist from Range Mental Health, I support Range Mental Health, I support what they do, I support having another therapist come, but they're working with kids that have a mental health diagnosis. We have a ton of kids that don't have a mental health diagnosis or whose parents don't want them to get a mental health diagnosis that need mental health supports. So personally, I would have been on board for option one just because of the position we're in.
Again, I thought we weren't gonna vote on it because I wanted more information, but, and I didn't think we'd be kicking the can. I just thought we'd have another maybe meeting to talk about. And I mean, I think we can agree on most of it. That's such a big decision. And for me, I know you guys have already talked about it and I missed the last meeting, so maybe I'm just behind the 8 ball a little bit. Yeah, I would have preferred not to vote on that, I guess, tonight.
The other thing too, now I just lost my train of thought.
Well, my concern is just kicking it down the road, that you're gonna have to do something before April. They should know, so that.
Well, we're still, the teachers, that wouldn't change.
This up.
You can do that.
It was with that changed.
You're good, you're good. You can
And
decide
again,
that later.
each year, we don't have to say it 500 times, but it is true, this is the hardest part of our job. And everybody from their different departments are gonna come and say, you know, don't cut our program, we have to make tough decisions. That's why people elected us, right? So again, I would have been in support of option one.
Same with me, but like I said, I was one of the ones that voted in the survey strongly against for 4-day week is so good, why not go to a 3? You know, let's keep going. But, I think the survey spoke pretty loudly to me, and the savings I think is real, and we're in kind of a jackpot with our budget, and I just think the last, I think it's 3 years in a row of doing cuts, and it's getting kind of wears me down, so.
It's just such a big decision that I wish we had more time to discuss. I don't feel like we didn't even get through the second scenario, like we
There's
only,
only one difference.
well, okay, I guess. Okay, technically, there's only
Yeah.
one difference, but.
And,
You
and
wanna,
I do get the arguments about the 4-day week too, you know, like I said, too, in the working session. I mean, we built these beautiful schools and we're only gonna be in them 4 days a week, potentially with, 4 days, but
should we take that off the table and
I
just
just,
talk? We have to make the decision on all these teacher cuts.
Yeah,
We have a motion on the table,
I,
and a second.
but we can amend the motion if we
we
wanted
can
to.
amend it or we can pull it.
I'm gonna try to, I don't know how to appropriately say that, but I'd like to amend it to pull the days of the week off.
You can amend it for that.
I agree with.
But make but. the
Slide
other-
on everything else.
Days of the
And
week and
maybe
music
And the
take
music
music
teacher.
teacher off too for
Yes,
now?
yes.
Okay, and we
And
can have more discussion on that. Okay.
so with doing that, with taking off the 4-day week, what's the impact of making that decision tonight?
Members of the board, if you just hold off on the 4-day week, I'm hearing the music thing, if you hold off on the music, you are telling me you're looking at about $2.2 to $2.3 million in adjustments. And you're doing it with a minimum of teacher impact. And even on the para ones, I need to say this, we always have high turnover in the paras. I believe, and because we're picking up special ed, there paras there is a high degree of likelihood that any para who wants a job, even if you approve this, they are going to have a job. Because their turnover is we always have about a third turnover with that group. So if you say yes, we don't want to decide on the 4-day week. We don't want to decide on the teacher right now, but we like everything else in option 2. It's a $2.2 to $2.3 million adjustment.
It should be more than that, because we're taking this off, this 4,000, it should be,
Yep.
2.35 to 2.45. If that math is accurate. It's right in the $74,000 back in.
And the recommendation was to make a cut of 2 point,
Minimum of 2.3 budget adjustment. So you're in the zone if you do this.
What if we don't have 4 retiring, leaving teachers?
You are gonna have them.
Okay,
They're gonna be there.
okay.
I will second her motion.
Did you
That we
rescind
take-
yours?
Yeah.
she amended
Amended
it.
it. But we have to vote on the amendment,
Yeah.
right?
Well, we're gonna vote on her amendment
First.
first. Which is, we're taking off the 3 and 4 day. That'll be a standalone at another board meeting.
4 and 5, you said 3 and
Oh.
4.
I'm thinking 3 and 4 day on there. 4 and 5.
Okay.
Okay, be clear on what we're voting on.
Well, and then I thought some people were, it was up in the air concerning the, coaches at 62,000. Is that settled?
I guess, I was just, and you made sense what you said, and I think John too, so I'm comfortable voting on that. I don't know, now that we've had that discussion.
So are you rescinding your original and,
He's
I think
making,
the easiest if Lisa
He's
rescinds
amending.
hers.
Do you rescind yours or you want to keep yours?
Well, I can rescind it. Would that be the easiest route to
That's up
go?
to you.
That's
I
fine.
will rescind my second.
Okay. And Nicole's motion is,
To accept option 2, taking out voting on the 5-day week and the music teacher.
I will,
second by
That-
Colbert Dolls,
I'll second that.
second by Reardon. So does that mean that the 4-day week is completely off the table for this year, or?
No, it just means that we're
We're not voting on it.
voting on
We're
it
not gonna vote on the fourth.
until the
time.
next. I just
Yeah,
want
for those
one
two
more
things.
working session.
Yeah,
Okay,
But that's
Alright.
me, you guys don't have to agree with it.
so we, theoretically, we've done a majority of the cutting that,
yeah,
and then we'll discuss the 4 or 5 day
Okay.
at another board.
okay.
That's
I didn't get on board.
Yep.
Yep.
Any other discussion? We all know,
If you vote for this board, as you are making a budget adjustment of 2.35 million to 2.45 million, approximately. That's what you're voting for. And then you're gonna talk about the 4-day week at the next board meeting for more discussions on that. That's what I'm hearing.
Perfect.
And music teacher, correct.
Yeah.
Those two, yeah.
And then we'll be-
and the counselors, and the deans, and the,
We'll keep cutting it, yeah. We'll
But you're
cut-
not specifically deciding on any counselor dean
Right.
situation.
Nothing,
I know.
okay.
just to provide a little comic relief.
We'll get less emails.
Yeah. All right, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
no,
Motion passes 5-1. Auditor voting no. Okay. 6.1, so this is my accurate file. 6.1, resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of the teaching contract of Donna Martinson, a probationary teacher. Can I get a motion?
So moved, Reardon.
Motion by Ridden,
support,
support by Lotiger. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Director Reardon,
Yes.
Director Lotiger,
yes.
Director Colbert-Dahl,
Yes.
Director Yuanzi, yes. Director Westby,
Yes.
Director Westby.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously. 6.2, resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of the teaching contract of Sean Johnson, a probationary teacher. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Westby,
Second,
second by Westby. Any discussion? Hearing none. Director Westby,
yes.
Director Westby.
Yes.
Director Yuanzi, yes. Director Colbert-Dahl.
Yes.
Director Lotiger,
Yes,
Director Reardon.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously. 6.3, resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of the teaching contract of Alexander Hayes, a probationary teacher. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Westby,
Support.
motion by Reardon. Any discussion? Director Reardon,
Yes.
Director Lotiger,
yes.
Colbert-Dahl.
Yes.
Director Yuanzi, yes. Director Westby.
Yes.
Director Westby.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously. 6.4, resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of the teaching contract of Deb Meisner, a probationary teacher. Can I get a motion?
So moved,
Motion by Lotiger,
Second.
second by Westby. Any discussion? Director Westby,
Yes.
Director Westby,
Yes.
Director Yuanzi, yes. Director Colbert-Dahl,
Yes.
Director Lotiger,
yes.
Director Reardon.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously. 6.5, resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of the teaching contract of Sarah Steele, a probationary teacher. Can I get a motion?
So moved,
Motion
Second,
by Lotiger, second by Westby. Any discussion? Hearing none. Director Reardon,
Yes.
Director Lotiger,
yes.
Director Colbert-Dahl,
Yes.
Director Yuanzi, yes. Director Westby.
Yes.
And Director Westby.
yes.
Motion passes unanimously. 6.6, resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of a teaching contract of Caitlin Schreiner, a probationary teacher. Can I get a motion?
Reardon.
Motion by Reardon,
Second.
second by Westby. Any discussion? Hearing none. Director Westby?
Yes.
Director Westby?
Yes.
Director Yuhan's a yes. Director Colbert Dahl?
Yes.
Director Lotiger?
Yes.
Director Reardon?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously. 6.7, resolution relating to the termination, non-renewal of the teaching contract of Amanda Delich, a probationary teacher. Can I get a motion?
I make a motion.
Motion by Westby,
Second.
second by Westby. Any discussion? Hearing none. Director Reardon?
Yes.
Director Lotiger?
Yes.
Director Colbert Dahl?
Yes.
Director Yuhan's a yes. Director Westby?
Yes.
Director Westby?
Yes.
All right. Motion passes at least six, well, and that unanimously. 6.8, resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of the teaching contract of Susan Lanick, a probationary teacher. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Lotiger,
Second.
second by Westby. Any discussion? Hearing none. Director Reardon?
Yes.
Director Lotiger?
Yes.
Director Colbert Dahl?
Yes.
Director Yuhan's a yes. Director Westby?
Yes.
Director Westby?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously. 6.9, resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of the teaching contract of Drew Aho, a probationary teacher. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Westby,
Support Reardon.
support Reardon. Any discussion?
I'd like to just say one thing on Drew. He's just, I'm sorry. This is, all these teachers are amazing and this is so hard to do. Drew is my son's teacher and he's fantastic. And I hope that we get all of these teachers or some of them back because they are all amazing. So,
I second that. Definitely second that. Director Westby,
Yes.
Director Westby,
Yes.
Director Yuhan's a yes. Director Colbert Dahl,
yes.
Director Lotiger,
Yes.
Director Reardon.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously. 6.10, resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of the teaching contract of Taryn Griner, a probationary teacher. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Westby,
Support.
support by Reardon. Any discussion? Director Westby,
Yes.
Director Westby,
Yes.
Director Yuhan's a yes. Director Colbert Dahl,
Yes.
Director Lotiger,
Yes.
Director Reardon.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously. 6.11, resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of a teaching contract of Tina Trulinger, probationary teacher. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Lotiger, second.
Support.
Support by Colbert Dahl. Any discussion? Hearing none. Director Westby?
Yes.
Director Westby?
Yes.
Director Yuhan's a yes. Director Colbert Dahl?
Yes.
Director Lotiger?
Yes.
Director Reardon?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously. 6.12, resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of the teaching contract of Amanda Spots, a probationary teacher. Can I get a motion?
I make a motion.
Motion by Westby,
Support.
support by Lotiger. Any discussion? Hearing none. Director Reardon?
Yes.
Director Lotiger?
Yes.
Director Colbert Dahl?
Yes.
Director Yuhan's a yes. Director Westby?
Yes.
Director Westby.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously. 6.13, resolution proposing placement of Gina Flank, a continuing contract tenured teacher on unrequested leave of absence to the extent of 1.0 FTE. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Lotiger.
Support.
Support by Colbert Dahl. Any discussion? Hearing none. Director Westby?
Yes.
Director Westby?
Yes.
Director Yuhan's a yes. Director Colbert Dahl?
Yes.
Director Lotiger?
Yes.
Director Reardon?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously. Resolution proposing placement of Benjamin Norman, a continuing contract tenured teacher on unrequested leave of absence to the extent of 1.0 FTE. Can I get a motion?
I make a motion.
Motion by Westby,
So moved.
second by Lotiger. Any discussion? Hearing none. Director Reardon?
Yes.
Director Lotiger?
Yes.
Director Colbert Dahl?
Yes.
Director Yuhan? Yes. Director Westby?
Yes.
Director Westby?
Yes.
Yes. Motion passes unanimously. Doesn't get any easier each time we go through that exercise, and it is the hardest part. I do hope all those folks find their way back to us. Meeting announcements, the next regular meeting will be Monday, April 13th at 6 o'clock in the Rock Ridge Administrative Building. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Lotiger,
Second.
second by Westman. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.